All right, hey guys. Time to catch up with the Gutfeld show. This show is actually on Thursday, um, and it's pretty funny. Hey, how do you like my new costume, huh? This is actually I just got this one, Maui, the Maui costume. I do have the wig too, but anyway, that's besides the point today. Let's start.
After not being named Pope.
Why he's
I
upset?
know, disappointing. Happy Thursday, everyone. Yeah! So, former President Joe Biden was on The View today.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the closest Joy Behar has ever been to a vegetable in years.
Oh man.
Fun story before the interview when the Secret Service patted down Whoopi. Imagine their surprise when they found Peter Dinklage.
Oh. Inside of
Joe, of course, was accompanied by his wife, Jill. The View said they were looking forward to interviewing the ex-president, as well as Joe Biden. We'll get to more of that later. On a recent podcast, Simon Cowell said he once turned down a couple's offer of $150,000 to watch them have sex.
Ew.
Wow. These two are getting more and more desperate for viewers. According to a new poll, Colombia was voted the country with the most beautiful women in the world.
Colombia?
But come on, any woman looks beautiful when there might be cocaine up her butt.
A what? She messed up and down. Did you say Pope?
Whoa. I apologize. Tensions between India and Pakistan are still on the rise. As a result, the rest of the world fears they will have nowhere to turn for tech support.
No.
It's a joke.
Oh.
According to a new study, only 39% of Americans would donate an organ to a loved one. But one American actually volunteered to show you his organ.
Wiener.
The Trump administration plans to release the audio of President Biden's interview with special counsel Robert Hur.
Yeah, how come he was never
Hur
released?
said revealed a well-meaning elderly man with a poor memory. Vegas odds makers are already taking bets times Biden farts.
Oh.
And finally, Ellen DeGeneres has shared videos of her new life
Oh,
in the
man.
English countryside.
They just
cutting
won't go
grass.
away.
It's not that surprising considering she's been mowing lawns for years. She loves to
Whoa.
landscape.
Oh, wow.
She loves representing John Deere for years.
Yes. You people go right to the lesbianism. So Times Square just unveiled a 12-foot tall plus-size statue of a black woman in a pantsuit who looks like she's about to confront her baby daddy on Jerry Springer. This inspiring monument was erected as a, quote, stark contrast to the two white men who have statues there already. Father Francis Duffy, a highly decorated World War I hero, and George Cohen, who helped to further Broadway and the music industry.
All right,
The
whatever.
artist claims that the statue's posture is a nod to Michelangelo's David. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I can barely tell them apart. Though the other guy mistakenly called Steve
man,
Ducey
people.
Charles Payne.
Oh.
Now, we're told the statue should instigate meaningful connections, but it's just steps away from an actual meaningful connection where a gang attacked two NYPD cops who interrupted a robbery. Why not make a statue of that to warn tourists?
Yeah.
Now, Tom Homan is about to deport those Tren de Aragua wannabes.
Should.
But incredibly, ICE was turned away because, shocker, New York's a sanctuary city.
Whatever.
Meanwhile, at Columbia, pro-Hamas agitators continue to wreak havoc, taking over the school's library. After all, it's full of their greatest enemy, books. It pays to note of the 80 arrested, 61 were female, and some of them even had vaginas.
Oh. Yeah. Oh, man, that's pretty stupid, but it's true. I like it.
So how did we get here? Well, it's easy. The lefties traded law enforcement for performance art, and the results are written in blood. Remember the defund the police movement?
Yeah.
A new study confirms what any sane person already knew: less policing equals more murder.
Well, yeah, look at all the reports. I mean, it's San Diego, Oakland, and all of that. And ever since they defunded the police, the crime rates went up. I mean, even New York and Chicago and all that. So,
Following the 2020 Summer of Love, police stops and arrests dropped by 40% across 15 major.
Yeah, because if I'm a cop, I don't want to, I don't want altercation, interaction with those gangs if I don't need to. The less, the better, because I want to go home too. I want to go home to my family. I don't want to be like the next, whoever that person that shot, some of those cops that got involved with all this high profile case, or Chauvin or something like that. Yeah. So I don't want to be in there, so yeah, why not? You're doing us a favor, because a lot of cops now is just, they're just there to work. They're not there to, really protect the, the community. That's not their first a priority. And their priority is just to go home, clock in, clock out, and go home. That's their priority, like less interaction with the criminals, the better. So why not? Why arrest them? Why even chase them?
American cities, leading to a massive rise in murders. By 2021, national homicides increased by 7,000 over 2019. It's as if CNN's entire audience had vanished. They tried to lie about crime dropping, but like tickets to see Snow White, people weren't buying it. But from 2021 to 2024, as cities reinstated proactive policing, murders dropped by almost 40%. Wow. Now I understand why we have cops. They aren't just to show up and strip at Kudlow's hot tub parties.
Oh, there he is.
Those were good times. And just in time, a poll shows that most Americans, especially blacks, feel that George Floyd's death didn't lead to any meaningful reform.
Of course not.
They probably weren't happy with a bunch of white co-eds telling them they don't need cops in their...
You know who got rich? People that pushed those narratives. Yeah. They got rich.
Neighborhoods, and then those co-eds leave. So what about all those slogans, all those street murals? Turned out to be worth as much as Kamala for President t-shirts.
Yeah.
Sadly, we learned that BLM actually stood for Black Leaders Mansions.
Exactly.
So we're not safer, we're not more equal, we're just poorer, angrier, and scared to take the subway. And what about the communities that defund was supposed to help? Anti-police policies hurt them the most, blacks in high-crime areas.
Yeah.
Here in New York, $1 billion cut from the NYPD budget.
Oof.
Cop retirements up and recruitment down, and crime soared. Stores closed, loved ones never came home, as their subway rides turned into mobile asylums. It's called the Ferguson effect, a rise in violent crime when you reduce the police force. And like J.B. Pritzker in the desert, I saw it coming from a mile away.
Yeah, but Pritzker, he's the governor, the state that I live in, and I tell you what, man, this guy is just, he's got wrong priorities, man. He's got wrong priorities. He's a billionaire, and his family's a billionaire, but yeah, no, I'm not. I mean, a lot of people do not like him as a governor.
Ferguson effect is a real thing. The George Floyd effect is a real thing. We saw this coming. We saw that the Ferguson effect take hold. That led to destructions of cities, decimation of the police forces, and morale.
Oh, yeah.
And now they made it, the result is what you're seeing is the Ferguson effect is now the law of the land. I know what you're thinking. He's hot. And clairvoyant. That's why I know what you're thinking. In a way, that statue represents America's blue cities, a big hollow gesture that threatens...
So, I heard that it's not even going to be there for a very long time, I don't know. What do I think of it? I mean, it's a statue. It's a statue. That's why I don't care if they, build a statue. Is it going to block the street where I'm going? Because that would be a problem if you block the street. But yeah, but just looking at it though, it's kind of a typical. I guess that's your everyday African American, the build and the stands. I mean, it looks like it looks like statues. It's one of those things that that person would want to talk to a manager kind of stance. Like, let me talk to you, manager. Those kind of stance.
To crush everyday people. Chicago, Oakland, SF, Portland, Seattle, Memphis, you get the idea. So when you hear all the lefty BS about criminal justice reform, think of this statue. Because like everything, it's all for show. The Dems aren't looking to make you safer. They're stuck on political theater. Singing horribly, filibustering nonsense, flying away to brown-nosed gangbangers, demanding due process for millions of unvetted illegals. Yeah, they still pushing this narrative about that he is not a member of MS-13 gang. And they always I see Charlie Kirk and some of those conservatives, debating with those lefties and pro MS-13 or pro whatever Democrats, They're still trying to decipher and figure out if the thing is real MS-13. All you have to do is ask the expert. I like there was a guy there asking. He said, "Oh, I'm not an expert on that, but I don't think that's an MS-13." So if you're not an expert, why would you? How about leave it to the expert like the feds, or ask the El Salvadorian themselves? They'll tell you. Ask the president Bukele. Yeah, that's why President Bukele would not release him, because he knows it's part of that game. Stupid. Anyway, the due process now is just, it's not about Kilmore Garcia anymore. So it's about due process now. So as if they're all entitled to due process. They're not even a citizen. They want due process on the way out, but when they came in here, they didn't go through due process. Stupid. So as cops get jumped, we get a 12-foot gargoyle. And the people who suffer, not the elites, it's shopkeepers, subway riders, working women,
regular
the
people.
Clueless libs claim to help. Hell, if they really want to get people talking, why not sculpt a murder victim? Let's welcome tonight's guest. His act is the reason we don't have him on more often. Comedian Joe Mackey.
That's a love.
He was once voted best dressed at a nude beach. Host of Cover on Fox Business, Larry Kudlow.
Best dressed at a nude beach.
MTV gave this woman her start, and a loaf of bread will make her fart. Host of the Kennedy Saves the World podcast, Kennedy.
I remember Kennedy. In the 90s.
And he causes more old ladies to faint than open casket funerals. New York Times bestselling author, comedian, and former NBA world champion.
It's like he's losing weight again.
Joe, in the green room, you told me that the woman in the statue was not fat enough for you.
Oh.
Care to comment?
Greg, that is true. I do love a little bit of junk in the trunk, and there's nothing wrong with that. More of the woman to love. That's what I say. But I will say this. If you wanted to make a statue of a random black woman that hasn't accomplished anything, you could have made one of Michelle Obama.
Wow. That's a dagger.
I will say this. I think this is a great piece of art because art is supposed to reflect the times. Here is a large portion of society that doesn't care about actions and results and consequences. All they care about is group identity to make their judgments. If an in-group does something, good. If an out-group does something, bad. And that's, when you understand that lens, you can understand the left very well. That's how Disney can protest Florida's so-called Don't Say Gay bill and then build a theme park in Abu Dhabi where being gay will get you beheaded because it's
Yeah.
who's doing it. It's a non-Western country, so they're the in-group. And it's okay for me to say that because a lot of people on the internet think that I'm trans.
That is true.
And also, I think they put it up there. Of course, people are going to say something. I mean, people's going to criticize that. Some of these lefties are, they put stuff out there, and then a lot of people's commenting, and then they're trying to narrow down. Oh, look how many white people are commenting against that. So that's clearly racism still exists, and I mean, individually, all the racism you will never get rid of that. If you base on that in ignorance or anything like that. But institutional racism, that's that thing of the past. I mean, unless you can find me that there's institutional racism here in the United States, I don't believe that. But it's actually in reverse. But I won't get into that. But here's his Gutfeld.
Well,
Wait, what?
He's a tranny.
Tyrus loves the kid.
Wait, I thought you were.
No.
Oh,
No?
so it doesn't count.
Not even like a little lowercase t?
I guess Abu Dhabi, I won't be heading there.
I'm getting
Larry,
I'm getting
Kudlow.
whiplash. I'm getting whiplash.
Sell high, Kudlow. Are you surprised defunding
Sell
the
high,
police
Kudlow.
resulted in more killings?
Yeah, it's a shocking outcome, really. But you think about it, that whole story, George Floyd, the BLM, what changed? What changed exactly? I never understood this.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I don't think this was a racist country to begin with, okay? People will disagree, but I don't think it was a racist. Do we have bad apples? Yes, okay, on all sides. But we were not a racist country. And I don't think that people should forget.
see, there's a lot of layers on that. If you're gonna ask me, was the United States racist as a country? Yes, of course. I mean, look at Jim Crow. Look at the KKK. But you have to really look into that and who started it. And how it was demolished and how it was replaced by something else. But anyway, yeah, like he said, that individuals, like I said earlier, they're bad apples, of course. And I mean, on both sides, yeah, of course. I mean, humans. But yeah.
All the great civil rights legislation that was passed in the last how many decades?
Yeah.
Particularly the 1960s. And it was enforced.
It's passed by
I do
Republicans.
think the
actually.
left has a fixation on everyone's racist. Everybody's, if I don't like it, it's racist. If I don't like you, it's racist. If I don't like you, it's racist. And I think that's utter nonsense. And last thought I had is the left wanted DEI before Trump came in and took it out. DEI, okay? DEI and its ultra affirmative action is probably the most racist thing we've seen in decades.
Yeah.
And helped to spawn all of this anti-Semitism that is occurring on college campuses
Really?
and other places as well.
Oh, yeah,
So
yeah.
I would say it backfired.
You
It
did.
was stupid. And it's just the projection of the left, and that the country is completely rejecting what the left is thinking about.
Well said. All right, Kennedy. There's so much in that monologue that just shined.
Larry's or yours?
61 out of 80 of the people arrested in Colombia were chicks.
Yeah. That's
Babes.
Because, why would
Honeys, hotties,
you? Broads.
broads.
Yeah. Why would you, if you were a guy, why would you want to go to college?
Mm-hmm.
And if you were going to go to college, why would you want to go to Columbia? It's like, if it's not, and it's not just students who are screaming in your face, it's TAs. It's faculty members. It's
Yeah.
the people who actually lord the power over you. You know, it's
Yeah.
like you go to a big school like that, the professors aren't the ones who give you grades. It's your TAs who are only a couple years older than you.
Right.
And if you don't fall in line
Yeah.
with their groupthink and their lockstep, and in this case, their goose step, then they're going to fail you. You know,
Yeah,
it's like, and
exactly.
it used
That's
to
what
be a
that's
degree
what the
from
thing now,
Columbia.
because a lot of kids, you know, I mean, they respect their teachers, you know. So if they, especially if they're afraid to, like, they're going to fail, you know, why not just, kids would be, you know, they may be afraid to speak up. They may be afraid to, like, challenge that idea that the teachers have, you know. And a lot of these kids are just like, just give in, you know, to that ideology in college.
Yeah, it was worth something. Now it actually might be better to fail out of the school so you can go somewhere else, so a rational school can throw you a lifeline.
It would be better to go to Columbia, where the hot chicks are, than Columbia.
Because they have big booties and that Bogota booger sugar that everyone loves.
But as for I won't be heading to the college.
Beheading.
Oh, a little decapitation humor there, Tyrus. Okay.
Don't lose your head, Gutfeld.
So, did we need this study to tell us about the Ferguson effect? Nobody cares.
No, well, let's first of all, I got to speak on the statue because it's all connected. You know, if it wasn't for the Black Lives Matter scam hustle, I don't think it would have inspired a lot of not just black people, but people of color across the country to go, you know what, that doesn't represent me or who I am. It makes no sense. I don't want any part of it. And I think it made people more comfortable with saying, no, I'm going to stand up for character.
True.
You know,
Yeah.
And the thing about having a statue is you want to honor life achievement. People who have become great, they've shown greatness, or they were courage in a time of travesty or whatever. And that's why you have, you know, they talk about the two white guys. It wasn't Earl and Bob having a Subway sandwich. It was two men of character who just happened to be white, who did something that needed to be remembered and stories told.
Yeah.
And the other side is, we just will take any obese, pissed off, hands on their hip, confrontational, because that's most of them are like. So they'll identify with that statue.
They're not, yeah.
Nobody would want that statue made of them. Even if you look like that, you still would not want that statue made like that.
Yeah.
That's true.
No one would want that. You know?
So the actual the saluting of it is like saying you're fine the way it is.
Yeah, I mean, look at the body language alone.
Yeah.
Whoever wants, any man want to come home from a hard day's work and she's at the door like this?
Yeah.
You're just gonna back the truck up and be like, nope, not dealing with this tonight. And that's the problem with the left, is they bank on the racism. They also bank that most of us look like that and have that attitude. And so there's no one's gonna get behind it. No other person. There's no little girl going, Mommy, I wanna be like that statue when I grow up.
True.
And if it was about promoting black women, there is thousands of black women in this country who have done amazing things. There's women of color
Yeah.
that you could have put up there.
Yeah.
Hell, even I can't. Whoopi Goldberg, for her acting roles, Color Purple, you could have made a statue of her. And if you made it exactly like her, I guarantee you when they pulled the robe off, she'd be like, I don't like it, I don't look like that.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Up next, Joe and Jill hit up the View.
Man. All right. That was a good segment, eh? Funny and interesting. All right. Until next time, keep it here. Maui.